Everyone laughed when David opened his lunchbox at work. They thought it was funny. But when they saw what was inside, no one said a word again. What they found changed everything we thought we knew about him. My name is James Mitchell. I'm a project manager at Henderson Construction in Philadelphia. I've worked there for 12 years. I thought I knew everyone on my team. I was wrong about David Porter. David joined our crew 8 months ago. Quiet guy, mid-40s. Always arrived exactly on time, left exactly at 5. Never joined us for drinks. Never talked about his personal life. Just did his work and went home. We all noticed the lunchbox. It was old. One of those metal ones from the 70s. Dented, rusted at the corners. The kind a kid would carry to school. Every day at noon, David would sit in the break room, open that lunchbox and eat. Alone, while the rest of us ordered takeout or went to the diner across the street. Mike from accounting started making jokes. "What's in the mystery box today, David? Gourmet sandwiches? Caviar?" David would just smile, never answered. The jokes got meaner. You know how it is in a workplace. Someone becomes the target, and everyone piles on. It makes people feel included. Superior, I'm ashamed to say I laughed along. Then came October 18th, the day everything changed. It was someone's birthday. Carol from HR. We were all in the break room, eating cake, laughing about the weekend. David walked in with his lunchbox like always. Mike saw his opportunity, an audience, a chance to be the funny guy. "Hey everyone, let's see what's in David's famous lunchbox today." Before David could react, Mike grabbed it, opened it in front of everyone. The laughter started immediately, because the lunchbox was empty. Completely empty. "Dude, you forgot your lunch," Mike howled. Others joined in. "The mystery is solved. There was never anything in there." But David wasn't laughing. His face had gone pale, and he was staring at the lunchbox with an expression I couldn't quite read. Not embarrassment. Something else. Something deeper. That's when I looked closer. Inside the lid of the lunchbox, taped carefully, was a photograph. A Polaroid, faded and worn. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, holding that same lunchbox, smiling at the camera, missing her 2 front teeth, and written in crayon beneath the photo, "Love you, Daddy, Sophie." The room went silent. David quietly took the lunchbox back, closed it, and walked out of the break room without a word. No one said anything. We all just stood there feeling the weight of something we didn't understand. I followed him. I found David in the parking lot sitting in his truck. The lunchbox was on the seat beside him. His hands were shaking. "I'm sorry," I said. "Mike's an idiot. We all are." David didn't look at me, just kept staring at that lunchbox. "You want to know why it's empty?" he finally said. His voice was barely a whisper. I nodded, because I can't afford to put anything in it. My stomach dropped. He told me everything, right there in that parking lot. The whole story just poured out of him like he'd been holding it in for years. Sophie was his daughter, his only child. She gave him that lunchbox on his birthday when she was 6. Said every daddy needs a special lunchbox for work. She'd saved her allowance for 3 months to buy it at a garage sale. 2 years later, Sophie was diagnosed with a rare neurological disorder. The treatments weren't covered by insurance. David's wife left. Said she couldn't handle it. The medical bills piled up. He sold everything. The house, the car, everything. Sophie lived to be 12. 6 years of treatments. 6 years of David working 3 jobs, sleeping 4 hours a night, sacrificing everything to give her more time. "She made me promise something before she died," David said. "She made me promise I'd still take her lunchbox to work every day. Said it would be like she was still with me. I couldn't speak. For the past 3 years, I have been carrying that empty lunchbox to every job site, every office. People always notice, they always joke. I let them, because explaining the truth, it's too hard. But the empty part, I managed to say. Why is it actually empty? David's laugh was bitter. Because I'm still paying off Sophie's medical debt, $300,000 worth. I eat 1 meal a day, dinner, at the shelter on 9th Street. The lunchbox isn't a prop, James. It's a reminder of what I'm still paying for. And why? I couldn't sleep that night. Couldn't stop thinking about David, about that empty lunchbox, about all of us laughing while he starved. The next morning, I did something I'm not proud of. I went through our company's payroll records. David Porter, salary, $42,000 a year. Garnishments, 78%. 78% of his paycheck was being garnished for medical debt. He was taking home less than $800 a month. I checked his employment record. Perfect attendance. Never late. Never left early. Never called in sick, not once in 8 months. Then I found something else, something that made my blood run cold. David had been asking HR about our employee assistance program. Food vouchers, emergency loans. He'd been denied every time because his garnishment ratio was too high. It was a catch-22. I dug deeper, called the hospital where Sophie had been treated. Mr. Porter's daughter received experimental treatments, the administrator said. The insurance company denied coverage. Did the treatments work? For a while. She lived 2 years longer than expected. That's when I understood. David had traded his future for Sophie's present. I called an emergency meeting with our team. We started a fund. Anonymous. Direct deposit into David's account. But that wasn't enough for me. I spent the next week making calls. To doctors. To billing advocates. To lawyers. That's when I found it. The hospital had made an error. They'd billed David for treatments that should have been covered. We filed an appeal. On November 30th, the insurance company approved coverage retroactively. David's debt was reduced from $300,000 to $48,000. I went to David's apartment that night, told him everything. He didn't cry, didn't thank me. He just said, "She's still teaching me, even now." David still carries that lunchbox to work every day, but it's not empty anymore. The team takes turns. Someone always makes sure there's a sandwich inside. Mike apologized, properly. David forgave him. 6 months later, David paid off the last of his medical debt. He brought Sophie's lunchbox. Inside was a note he'd written to her. "Mission accomplished, sweetheart." There wasn't a dry eye in that room. Here's what I learned from David Porter and his empty lunchbox. We judge people every single day. Every person you meet is carrying an empty lunchbox. The question is whether you'll mock them for it or help them carry it. Sometimes an empty lunchbox is the fullest thing in the room.